The Pokemon anime just left everyone speechless, with one of the most peak moments that fans have been praying for finally happening. The reactions to this one have been huge online, so much celebration and hype, and because of all that I have a ton to say. So be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, cause we're so close to 150k now and that'd be a dream. And now let's dive into my review of Pokémon Horizons, episode 119. In the episode, Briar's big research reveal is that to power up the Stellar type of Terrapagos enough to completely erase the Luckworm, they need Pokemon of all 18 Terra types, and they each have to be as powerful as the 6 heroes. And although I did kind of expect a grander reveal after all the build-up, especially considering we kind of easily predicted that after what Diana revealed earlier in the series, I still do find it to be an interesting concept. The focus being on Terra types means that some Pokemon can be a part of it even if they're the same base type as another. For example, we can have Kilowattrel, Charizard, and Captain Pikachu, because although their base types cross over, their Terra types might not cross over. Friede's Charizard could represent the Dark Terra type, Cap could represent the Flying Terra type, Kilowattrel could represent Electric Terra type, and plus I really prefer Pokemon who are already developed and beloved on the main cast taking all of the slots, rather than our heroes having to rush to catch all new Pokemon of different types, and somehow making them strong enough in such a short time span. Or hey, maybe our heroes will gather 18 different characters, each with one Terra type, like their friends and gym leaders and Elite Four. If all of them gathered to power up Terrapagos, that'd feel very X, Y, and Z Final Battle vibes. But I can't help but wonder when Briar says they all have to be as strong as the 6 heroes. Are we talking the utterly unstoppable War God 6 heroes from before the time skip? Or are we talking about the kinda tired, kinda nerfed, maybe skipped leg day versions of the 6 heroes from after the time skip? Because that makes a humongous difference, man. So Roy wants to get going and leave the Blueberry Academy already, until Liko reminds him he needs to chill and relax like Drayton taught him. And seeing all of this, Drayton wants a rematch. Roy is persuaded by everyone, and dude, even Kieran, Amaris, and Crispin are watching the battle too! They definitely got the Arven cameo treatment, but hey, that's way better than him not appearing at all. And our boy Kieran is in his Blueberry outfit, and he looks quite tired and depressed. So I imagine this is probably after the DLCs, with Kieran feeling quite low about how he acted and wanting to be better. The rematch is Crocalor and Kilowattrel versus Kingdra and Archaludon, and God bless you writers for not replacing Kilowattrel with Lucario. I would have been so mad, it's not even funny. So Kingdra sets up Rain Dance, freezing the battlefield, but Roy knows that means Electro Shot is coming next, so his Pokemon work together to dodge it. Kingdra's Hurricane then charges Kilowattrel's Wind Power ability again, and although Crocalor falls off onto the ice, Roy's strat for Crocalor to use Flame Charge to melt the ice under it works a treat. Kilowattrel and Crocalor break through a Snarl from Archaludon and hit into it really hard. These are some pretty great strategies so far. It's clear that Roy learned a lot from their previous battle. He knows how to work around Drayton's moves now. But what Roy didn't expect is for Archaludon's stamina ability to activate, boosting its defense every time it takes damage. And he also didn't expect Archaludon to use a new move, Metal Burst, smashing into Crocalor and Kilowattrel insanely hard. So yeah, Drayton still has some crazy cards up his sleeves too. Roy begins stressing, but then he remembers his key to relax if he wants to win. That's what Drayton taught him. And then something really surprising happens. Kilowattrel and Crocalor set up a strategy by themselves without Roy's input. They fly up into the air, and Crocalor turns around and uses Flamethrower to work like a rocket boost. So then our boy Roy begins singing to cheer him on. Man, I'm so glad he's singing again. So Kilowattrel and Crocalor are launching through the sky rocket boosted at insane power, but then Crocalor suddenly falls off. And that completely catches Kingdra by surprise, allowing Kilowattrel to smash into it with all of that accumulated power, immediately followed up by Crocalor's disarming voice, knocking Kingdra out. I've seen some people complaining that Kingdra, an Elite Four Pokemon, going down in just 2 hits feels kinda dumb, but honestly I don't agree. I mean, yeah, I normally don't love quick knockouts too. I was very vocal about that in Pokemon Journeys, but this one made complete sense to me. Not only was it a prolonged battle where Kingdra exhausted itself, but also the rocket boost strategy with Kilowattrel and Crocalor was insanely smart, and it was animated to look ridiculously impactful. And then add the super effective disarming voice, and also the fact that Kingdra was caught off guard. I think all of that totally checks out to Kingdra being defeated. After all, how effective the rating is of a battle depends on the strategy and the impact, not just on the amount of attacks. Just like how Pikachu one-shotted Sawyer's Aegislash in the Kalos League, but that was still an incredible, beloved showdown because of the strategy behind it being so peak. So the battle continues, with Electroshock being dodged, and then the rain fades away, so our Caledon is no longer boosted too. The weather really took a side, dude. The side of our boy Roy. Crocalor then attempts a skydive flame charge, but our Caledon manages to catch it, dude. Our Caledon is ready to croc out Knockalor with a surprise head-on Metal Burst. Okay, this is Ferlax from the future. Obviously I said that very wrong. Croc out Knockalor? I meant knock out Crocalor. But that was so funny that I've got to keep it in, okay? But then, when the Metal Burst is about to smash into Crocalor, our boy Kilowattrel dives in the way, taking the full brunt of the hit. Kilowattrel, like the legend he is, tries to stand up again, but then when he realises it's over for him, he turns to Crocalor and basically tells him, "You've got this," and then he falls unconscious. Crocalor even catches him, man, so he doesn't hit the ground, just like how Ash caught Pikachu at the end of the Leon battle. Man, I love their bond so much. Crocalor and Kilowattrel really are like brothers. They've come so far since their bickering when they first met. Kilowattrel in general was treated so perfectly in this battle, dude. Yeah, he was Crocalor's taxi service, as always, but being that air mobility is the only reason that Roy has made it so far in the battle. Kilowattrel was key to every strategy so far, and he even sacrificed himself so Crocalor can finish the battle. This is such incredible stuff. I love this oversized seagull so much, man. At this point, Crocalor's head egg is bouncing and twitching and making noise, so it's so clear what's about to happen. There's a big beam clash between the two remaining Pokemon, and then when Crocalor begins using Stomp and Tantrum, his head egg bursts to life, hatching a beautiful fiery phoenix, and that's followed by his body glowing blue in the moment we've all been waiting for. Roy, just like all of us, is absolutely speechless as Skeledirge is born. And dude, it looks incredible in the anime art style. I love that they slightly softened or decreased the amount of sharp edges it has in the games. And the bird on his head is singing, it has its own personality, and I love that the writers are treating it like a separate being from Skeledirge. It's gonna be such a change seeing such a huge crocodile with Roy all the time. I just really hope they don't Pokeball him too much because of the complexities of animating him. So in response, Drayton terrestrializes his Arcaladon, and Roy terrestrializes Skeledirge, and I understand why they're doing this, but I also really wanted to see how they would animate Skeledirge in a regular battle without terror, so I'm a little bit sad, man. Either way, Arcaladon uses Draco Meteor, but Skeledirge completely ignores the assault from above. He just stands there taking the hit, and then launching an unfathomably powerful flamethrower right through all of it, and that knocks out Arcaladon. And at first it seems Skeledirge is down and out too, until his bird begins pecking him and waking him up. That was adorable, man. I love these two already. I am surprised that the finisher move wasn't Torch Song, but maybe they're saving it for a future episode. So Roy's ecstatic at winning the battle, and then everyone meets Skeledirge. I'm sure Kilowattrel was thinking, how the heck am I going to carry this big guy? And then later on, our heroes bid farewell to Anne, and Lacey, and Briar, and Carbon Dioxide. I don't want to say goodbye to Anne again, bro. Can she not come with us? Anyway, Dot reaches out to Amitheo's father, who tells him about an Exceed museum, and I was thinking, bruh, we being for real? What would even be in an Exceed museum? Come one, come all, see the beautiful paintings of us emotionally and physically abusing your Pokemon. But hey, then again, knowing how dense the general public are to be eating up the strong spheres in the first place, maybe an Exceed museum isn't that far-fetched after all. But Amitheo's dad also tells him that private Exceed data can be found in the museum, so the episode ends with Dot and Penny deciding to sneak in. Man, it's like the writers knew I criticised Dot for not really doing anything a few weeks ago, and although it's true that she did get absolutely nothing in the Blueberry arc, at least this makes up for it. Overall, the Blueberry Academy arc was definitely shorter than I expected. I can't believe we're already at the end of it, but that doesn't mean it wasn't worthwhile. Our heroes got so much out of this. Hatterene evolved, Skeledirge evolved, Holt bonded with Dragonite, Roy learned to take things easy again, they learned more about Terrapagos, plus we got the best appearances we've ever had from Anne and Carmine, on top of some great portrayals of Lacey and Drayton too. This was a really fantastic arc overall. I can't lie, part of me does still wish we just got 3 more episodes. We could have got like a comedic, unserious Crispin episode, and then an episode of Dot bonding and training with Amaris, and then we could have ended with a Liko versus Kieran double battle. That would have really made this arc feel complete, but I guess we're probably running out of time, and what we did get was still awesome. Roy versus Drayton was incredible. There were genuinely so many fantastic strategies, stories, brilliant character moments, and not a single moment that felt wrong or poorly written, you know? I loved it so much. One of my favourite parts was when Roy was remembering that he had to chill out and taking the time to do that. Crocalor and Kilowattrel took the initiative to keep things going. They didn't stop either. They allowed Roy the time he needed while they set up the next attack. It just goes to show how closely they're all bonded, that they have that level of trust in each other. And of course, Crocalor's evolution was so cool, man. I'm so glad it finally happened after all this time. It really is going to be such a game changer seeing Skeledirge on the main cast. I do have to admit though, in my head I did think the evolution moment was gonna feel more grand and climactic than it did. Maybe that's my own fault for having too high expectations, but after how absolutely perfect Fuecoco's evolution was, like I'm talking that deserved Oscars, Emmys, BAFTAs, everything. It was probably my favourite evolution of all time. I guess I just kinda hoped for something on that level again for Crocalor and Skeledirge. I thought everyone would be singing and Roy and Crocalor would fully connect in aura, and all of that would come together to trigger the moment. So yeah, maybe my expectations were just way too high. And hey, the evolution moment was still amazing. I'm not criticising it whatsoever, and like everyone I've seen online adored it wholeheartedly. So yeah, overall, what a special episode, what a special battle, what a special evolution, what a special arc. This was all just so special, man. Let me know your thoughts on episode 119 in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe too if you enjoyed the review. We're so close to 150k, dude, so I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much to all of my incredible legendary channel members. That includes Shiny Charm, Jay, Pokesan, Shareborn, Melissa, Hope, Not Mini, Juscadia, Toten, Fizz. I really appreciate you guys. And yeah, on that note, thank you all so much for watching, and best wishes until we meet again!